Biden pumped up, demands gas stations slash their prices at the pump. Do it now. So let's check out this video.
But look, my message is simple.
Um,
Look, my message is simple. To the companies running gas stations and setting those prices at the pump, bring down the prices you're charging at the pump to reflect the cost you pay for the product. Do it now. Do it now. Not a month from now. Do it now. And it's going to save people a lot of money. A little over a year ago, I signed an executive order to promote competition with the goal of lowering prices for consumers and raising the wages of workers and encouraging innovation in the economy.
Sometimes I wonder, like, is Biden is Biden just stupid, or just purposely lying, or both? Right? Like, ugh, like this is such a sad thing. Look, gas prices are increasing. Like, well, gas prices are bad everywhere in the world, right? But they are worse in certain countries where certain people of power make really, really bad choices. And the scary thing about this is that gas prices are probably going to soar in a couple months. And if the whole student loan debt bailout happens, I would be extremely scared as to like the average cost of everything, including gas, a year from now, 2 years from now. I would be scared because personal story, which I say and bring up all the time, like 1 to 2 years ago, I bought a specific dog food that was only like $10.68 for the pack. Now it is almost 20 bucks for the exact same amount of dog food. No increase in volume of dog food. Okay? And that's just dog food. That's not including any other expenses, like normal expenses, right? Another example. I used to be able to buy like an energy drink, a specific one for like $2. Now, the average price of that energy drink is like $4 to $5. Like it's crazy, right? And that's just like small examples. But if you tacked on to like basically every product or service that you are using in your day to day life, the amount that you were spending a year or 2 years ago is probably like 40% of what you were actually paying now, or 60% of what you're paying now. Like the price difference is actually pretty substantial. Like the amount that you're actually spending is pretty substantial. And so, if you were to look at it from like a different perspective, if you're someone who's living paycheck to paycheck a year ago, you're probably living off of debt right now. And if things keep increasing, a year from now, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do if you're someone who's literally living off of credit cards right now? What are you going to do if you're living paycheck to paycheck right now? What are you going to do if that you're living paycheck to paycheck and then you get fired or let go because now your company, your bosses can't even afford to have you around anymore? Where now it actually costs more to keep you than to get rid of you. Like, this is going to get so bad. Like, it's going to get really bad for a lot of people in America. Now, obviously, Other countries are going to get harmed too, but I'm just saying for specifically in America, it's going to get really bad. If they keep going down this route of basically printing more money, trying to screw over businesses, trying to force businesses to do things, try to bail out student loan borrowers, it's going to be extremely expensive to simply live in the United States. So let's actually read this article. So President Biden lashed out at gas stations on Tuesday for allegedly being tardy in lowering the price of fuel in line with dropping oil prices. During a meeting Monday with economic aides, Biden lamented that while crude prices fell sharply last month, it has taken a long time for the drop in price to trickle down to the consumer. We haven't seen the lower prices reflected at the pump, though, and meanwhile, oil and gas companies are still making record profits. Billions of dollars in profit, the president said Monday. My message is simple to the companies running gas stations and setting those prices at the pump. Bring down the prices you're charging at the pump to reflect the cost you pay for the product. By the way, I'm like 100% certain that Biden has no clue how an actual gas station is operated, like at all. So Biden's comments, which were posted by the White House, were reported by Insider. The president exhorted gas stations to pass along savings to customers more quickly. Do it now, Biden said. Do it now, not a month from now. Do it now. Although obviously we checked out the video, he said it in like a really weird way. Like I don't know why he speaks the way that he speaks. I mean, I'm bad at speaking, just in general, but like it's like he purposely tries to be like creepy and evil the way that he speaks. Let's see. And it's going to save people a lot of money. It'll save a lot of people money if you stop being so stupid financially with taxpayers' money. Bob Bilbrook, CEO of business strategy firm Captjur, told the Post that Biden was way off base. I grew up in the convenience store gas station business, Bilbrook said. Margins are razor thin in these operations, and depending on the relationship in the buying ecosystem, they may be buying from a bulk fueler or directly from the producer. So we're talking very little difference in prices, he said. See, yeah, here's the thing that like a lot of people don't actually understand about the gas station industry. They don't actually really make their money from the gas station, like from the gas. They make their money when you stop in to buy their goods, to buy their sandwiches, to buy their candy, to buy their energy drinks, to buy their beer, to buy all their consumables. Why? Because if they basically have a place for you to spend money on marked up items where they can basically sell or they can basically buy something for $1, sell for $3, if they have a lot of like, traffic through that store, and it's a routinely type of thing because a lot of people go to the exact same gas station every single time they fuel up and go and grab something that they really like. So we're talking easily repeatable customers spending 5, 10, 15, $20 every time they fuel up, not on gas, but on the goods in the actual store, right? And depending on how often you fill up, that can mean a lot of business to these companies, like a lot of money to these companies. But for like the actual gas, they might make like a couple pennies per gallon. Like they barely make anything on it. So since gas station owners work on small margins, they are under constant competitive pressures from the station next door to keep their prices competitive. This is simply supply and demand, Bilbrook told the Post. You have less drilling going on and less oil and gas being refined, prices go up. He added, it's basic economics. If Biden wanted to make a true impact and get costs down for the consumer, there are many things he could do. Free market advocates also did not take too kindly to the president's comments. Having the president of the country pressuring private companies into cutting profit is not a good look at best. Geopolitical analyst Irina Sukerman, who heads Scrib Rising, to the Post. These comments indicate that Biden is avoiding responsibility for his own contribution to the price crisis, the policies that have driven up the gas prices to begin with, failure to allow for leases on federal land, the shutdown of pipeline projects, the gas tax hike, among others. So the average price of gallon of a fuel ticked up to $3.75 nationwide on Tuesday, which is 17% higher compared to a year ago when the cost was $3.19 per gallon. Biden administration officials touted the drop in gas prices from mid-June when they reached a record high of $5.02. By the way, this is going to get basically probably higher than that in a couple months. I would not be surprised if the average gallon of gas would cost like $6 nationwide. So last week, gas prices rose for the first time, snapping a 99-day streak of falling prices. Gasoline prices mostly reflect trends in global oil prices and crude, and both the U.S. benchmark and the international Brent have been slumping since mid-June on growing fears of a global recession that would reduce demand for energy. U.S. crude rose 73 cents on Tuesday, closing at $77.44 a barrel. Brent crude jumped 1.32% to $85.17 a barrel. By the way, I'm a little bit depressed that I didn't drop a disgusting amount of money into oil, into crude, when it basically was negative, because I wonder how much money you could have made by doing something like that. But see, that's just sometimes the risk that you take, because the way that I invest and the way that I recommend people invest is for longevity, right? And if you want to learn how to get out of debt and master your money and how I got out of debt and grew my net worth, go down below to learn how, or go to 40inbox.com. But the main thing is, we are probably going to face some really hard financial times, and the best way to weather the storm is to not have debt. Period. Right? Because when you're out of debt and you got money in the bank, you're going to wake up and be like, wow, I am not afraid of today. Right? Now you might be afraid of today for different reasons, but financially speaking, you're not going to be afraid. You're like, okay, if things cost a little bit more, that sucks, but I don't have crazy amount of debt bills to pay. So it's just something to really think about. Being debt free is such a good feeling.